Going live. Almost there. All right, guys. Welcome, everyone, to the August 2020 chapter meeting for Arizona NORML. We've got a special guest lineup with Alejandro Chavez from the Strategies 360 campaign. He's going to be talking and giving us a legislative update here with Smart and Safe. We have Dr. Jim Sharkey joining us from Tiburon Consulting, who's going to be speaking on cannabis and COVID. We also have joining us Kush Chronicles editor Allison Stein. And from the Arizona NORML board, we've got Mike Robinette and Todd Gilchrist. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And with that, I'm going to turn it on over to Todd Gilchrist to hit us up with the national update. Take it away, Todd.
All right. We got a few updates coming up from national. There's one thing that I recommend everyone read is the founder of NORML, Keith Stroop, looks at 50 years of NORML. And this week, the story is focusing on victims, where Jerry Mitchell, who got 12 years for selling a third of an ounce to an undercover narc. There's also other topics like Hunter S. Thompson, Free John Sinclair Rally, Playboy, and High Time sponsorship are some of the other topics of those stories. So one of the updates from the national NORML, Illinois retail cannabis sales surged over 20% month over month in July, so it reached a record high. Congress votes to protect legal marijuana for the second time in history. The House approved legislation restricting the Department of Justice from interfering with states with legal marijuana. It's named the Blumenauer-McClintock-Norton-Lee Amendment, and it had 97% Democrat support and 16% Republican support. On the medical marijuana side, Louisiana had their medical cannabis expansion laws take effect, where the physicians have discretion to recommend cannabis therapy for any condition they consider debilitating to an individual patient. The business side, state legal industry to employ nearly 300,000 employees by the end of the year. In comparison, we've got about a slightly higher amount of computer programmers working in the US. So there's a New Jersey ballot initiative that's got a super majority backing with 78% Democrats, 57% Republicans, and 63% independent support. And then we also have one last update where Senate Leader Mitch McConnell misleads on trying to create a false feud with Speaker Nancy Pelosi on cannabis banking, where they're insinuating that she had a COVID cannabis cure of some sort. So that's my updates for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Much appreciated. Let's turn it on over to Mike Robinette to speak from Southern Arizona NORML.
Alex, give me a hand. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. I'm Mike Robinette. I'm on the board of Arizona NORML. Actually, my title is the secretary, and I'm also director of Southern Arizona NORML, a nascent chapter that actually we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary of incorporation with the state. We incorporated August 1st of 2019. So we're 1 year old and 4 days, sorry.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you. Let's give Southern Arizona NORML a hand.
All right.
Feliz cumpleaños. Okay, great. Now I'm going to just do very quickly today a few state updates, and then of course a few Southern Arizona NORML updates, and then we'll get to our special guest. And I think you're really going to enjoy both hearing from Alejandro and Dr. Jim Sharkey. One thing, we have the state chapter is strong. We have stabilized and moved it forward. We're very excited about the progress we've been making. One thing though that we're really in need of, and it's an opportunity for all of you, is volunteering. we can certainly use more volunteers to work with us. And the thing is, I don't have certain positions to spell out, because what we want to do is, if you're definitely interested in working with us or volunteering with us, we would encourage you to go to our webpage, ArizonaNORML.org. And there's a link where you can fill out that you're interested in being a volunteer. And what we'll do is we'll reach out to you and either do a conference call or a Zoom meeting to kind of ascertain, what can you bring to the chapter and how can we work together in moving the chapter forward. So we are soliciting anyone and everyone who's interested. We'd love to talk with you to help us out in our mission in moving Arizona NORML forward. And really, volunteers are the lifeblood of this organization. So the more the merrier. We'd love to have you all. And go to ArizonaNORML.org if you're interested, and we will be in contact with you as soon as you fill that form out. I'm going to do a slight tease, but I'm not going to talk about the details. But one of the big things that really is normal, one of our missions is normal, either as national normal or as a state chapter with Arizona NORML, or for that matter, as a local chapter that I'm running down here in Tucson, is education and outreach. So look for, in the near future, the beginning of our educational series, where we're going to be bringing topics relevant to cannabis that you probably have quite an interest in learning more about. And we're going to be starting that series up this month. So look for an announcement via social media from us. And then we're going to continue that series into the fall and winter. And so I'm very excited. I know I can speak for everyone on the board of the organization. We're all very excited about doing webinars and educational series relative to cannabis. Lastly, linking back to volunteering, is we've decided to really commit our efforts to a general election guide. So as soon as this election, which is today, as soon as the results are finalized, we will be desperate for volunteers to join us to research candidates, to follow up with candidates when they don't respond to us initially. And in fact, we will have an initial Zoom meeting for all volunteers interested in the general election guide. It's actually one of the ways that I got started working in NORML about 2.5 years ago. I volunteered to work on an election guide and kind of grew from there. So I would encourage anyone who has any at all interest in politics or interacting with politicians or people who are aspiring to be politicians in elected office, the general election guide gives you that opportunity. So we'd love to have you join us for that opportunity as well. Quickly down here, Southern Arizona NORML. I did actually a 2-hour interview on July 8th with an organization I wasn't familiar with. They're called the Cannabis Consumer Policy Council, or CCPC. But CCPC sounds kind of, I don't know. So we'll just say Cannabis Consumer Policy Council. And I just wanted to publicly thank Matthew with that organization for talking with us. We had a great 2-hour conversation about activism. And one of the things, they're interviewing activists across the nation relative to cannabis and obtaining their thoughts and what they're up to in the nation. Our big event down here, and I always joke with Ryan, please don't judge me as being simple, that I get so inspired by highway cleaning, the simple act of picking up other people's trash and discarded nonsense. But I love doing it because it's giving back to the community. And I'm very excited to announce we did do a highway cleaning on July 11th. Campbell Avenue at this point, probably not now, but after we clean it, you can certainly picnic on it and eat off of it. It's that clean, and that's how excited we are to get the job done. Special thanks to Edwin, Scott, and Bill for the July 11th cleaning. Those are volunteers down here. Next highway cleaning is this Saturday. So if you happen to be in Tucson and awake at 7 a.m., we'd love to have you come down here and join us to clean Campbell Avenue, if you're familiar with Tucson, from the Rito River, where the Trader Joe's is, down to Fort Lowell. Love to have you join us 7 a.m. sharp in the Trader Joe's parking lot at the Rito River and Campbell Avenue in Tucson. We'll be there, excited as always, social distancing and wearing masks and cleaning our adopted highway. So that's this Saturday. We are closely monitoring the Pima County Attorney's race, whereas Maricopa County's attorney race will continue with the Democrat and Republican in November. Our race is over today because we only have 3 Democratic candidates, Jonathan Mosier, Laura Conover, and Mark Diebold, and one of them will win this evening. And we have done some outreach with each of them, and we're very excited to work with whoever is elected. We decided not to do a debate, but we sent each candidate 14 cannabis-related questions, and Jonathan Mosier actually was the only one to respond to our questionnaire. And if you're interested, soaznormal.org has his questions in a PDF format on our website if you'd like to read his take on cannabis-related issues. And one last thing, our chapter meeting is this Thursday, August 6th at 6:30 p.m. One of our special guests here, Alejandro Chavez, will be joining us as well in our chapter meeting down here. And at soaznormal.org, if you care to join us, we have a Zoom link to that meeting as well. And with that, those are Arizona NORML updates and Southern Arizona NORML updates. And I'm going to segue right into our first special guest because he has some really important stuff to talk about. And that is Alejandro Chavez with Strategies 360. And he's going to talk to us about legalization. Alejandro.
Well, thank you, Mike. A lot of energy. I can feel it radiating through my computer. Awesome. So yeah, thank you all for having me. I think it was last month I was here, maybe, right? So you probably remember some of the updates. We just turned in our signatures. So I won't bore you with some of that old stuff, and I'll just give you kind of an update where the campaign is, some recent polling that came out that's pretty awesome. And then I'm gonna just repitch something now that we're going, and the next actual steps we'll be taking, since the reality is, this campaign's gonna get going in the next week. The elections will be over, and through the primary, and we'll have the sprint to November. So that you'll start seeing more stuff. We'll start doing more, and we'll be asking for volunteers. You'll be getting texts, and you'll be like, Alejandro and them are up to something. You'll be getting an email and all those fun things. So just know that stuff is on the horizon. And just also to mention that, usually this is something that happens in late August, right? Usually the election is the last Tuesday of August. And so these 3 extra weeks are actually going to be really pivotal in us being able to bring people together who maybe their candidate lost. And 2 is to get everybody who's, God, I didn't get my way, I'm done. Give them time to get over that, and we start moving forward towards the productive part. I know that sometimes when that happens in late August, by the time people get over it, ballots are in the mail already. So hopefully some of this will happen, and it gives us more time as a campaign to start getting information, contacting people, and getting the campaign going. So first, where are we with the campaign? So some of you may have heard that they did pull our signatures, and they did challenge us via a lawsuit on the wording of the initiative. So a lot of scary stuff, and especially if you've been following any of the initiatives. I know you probably heard the news about Invest in Ed, and you probably thought, holy crap, right? I get it, I feel it, and I hear you. And know that just a few things that I want to share. One is that the signatures were good, and the signatures weren't the problem in Invest in Ed, and so that's looking good for our signatures, really is. 2, that the reality is our initiative has a lot less complicated language in it around revenue. Invest in Ed was about tax a certain group and so forth, and a lot of state municipality and stuff. Ours doesn't have that, and what does have is already approved through medical marijuana. And so one of the reasons why we stayed in line with all of that. So that's out for later. However, we won't know till later this week. So we do have a lawsuit. That's why we're not on the ballot yet. I do say that our lawyers and our network of lawyers have done an extensive thoroughness, and we feel as comfortable as we can. So I wish I had more answers. We've done all we can, and all of you have done all you can in getting great signatures, sharing the initiative. So just thank you. And, we keep waiting. We just keep waiting. That's really the reality of it. And
that's the hardest part.
The hardest part, right? And you know what? I'll be honest. The hardest part is kind of waiting with nothing you can do. I can't go knock on more doors. I can't go get more signatures. I can't have you all send more letters to the judge. We can't have you sign a petition. Like the just waiting. So I get it, everybody. I'm with you. I feel. Luckily, Everybody probably has a card, probably indulges. So hope it helps. If not, I'm with you, I feel. And that's just the reality. I wish I had better news, but I don't. However, I'm hoping later this week, we're going to have the great news to celebrate and start pushing forward. And it's going to turn these calls and calls like this from, well, this is what we can do, this is what we can do, to this is what we are doing. And I'm really excited to flip that switch with all of you to start using the words now, do this, not we're waiting. So it's coming. I'm excited. It's going to get to a point where in November, you're going to tell me, Alejandro, in order to preserve our relationship, I can't talk to you for 3 weeks because I'm going to call and do so much outreach to all of you to participate and get your friends and your family and your neighbors and even some people you don't like, but you do know support to get out and vote. Okay, so let me tell you that. Now, I know I gave you some news that you're kind of like, Alejandro, you're supposed to cheer this up. It's not going too well. Well, hold on a second. I got a little trick up my sleeve. I'm going to do a little screen share here. Oh, you said I couldn't do the screen share. No problem.
Try it again.
Oh, okay. And there we go. Perfect. All right. Let's see. So you all see my screen here, net support marijuana? Great. So what this is this is a poll that was done July 20th. So this is, when did we speak? We spoke like the 7th or the 17th, right? Something like that. So this would have been
Correct. Yep.
right after we spoke. So as you can see, since December and July, statewide, it's up 21 points. With men, it's up. With women, it's up. Some of the numbers that I find most interesting are how much it's up with Hispanic and Latino community. Maricopa County, look at that compared to Pima, how much more it's growing just in that amount of time, the approval of it. So, and the rural areas where we know that traditionally, it's not areas that not only are harder to reach because sometimes you can only mail or do video commercial or stuff like that sometimes hard to get volunteers in some of those areas. It's bigger. And we can actually see that it's going here. Wow, that's increasing. So this is December to July. This is 6 months. We also can agree that there's a unique 5 months in there that we've seen the industry as a whole gain more support. And I think that some of this is reflective, but I also don't think this is something that's going to dip down. I don't think you become supportive and then you're not supportive and then you are supportive. It's not one of those things, right? Once you become supportive of marijuana legalization, usually you stay there, right? You're not fluctuating. And this is all public. I'll post it here in the chat afterwards, but I know that if I share it with you all, you will look at it and totally not listen to what I'm saying. And you probably won't listen to anyone else. So I'll share it at the end of the call because as a facilitator, I know that's super annoying, Ryan, when people send things and you're like, no one's going to listen to it. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
And trying to screenshot it. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'll send it at the end. Let me go down a little bit more because I think there's also other pieces of this that as we're talking about it and you're thinking about it, how to have the conversation on where the support is. The support is not just in NORML. The support is not just in the medical marijuana patients and medical marijuana industry. This is actual people who are not. Like, they may not be a patient. They may not even know who NORML is. They may not even know what smart and safe is, but they feel like they've moved on this issue, right? Well, they know what smart and safe is from this poll, but they may not know all the interesting details of the things that maybe we know because many of you all have been fighting for this for years, right? And have even helped craft some of the language that we use. We'll go down a little bit further. Look at urban voters, suburban voters, rural voters. The gray is unsure. Now, look, I am a stoner. I am not a mathematician. But if you take 32% and you add in 10%, that's not even negotiable in there, that still leaves us over 50%. So just realizing, that there's these numbers are great, but the number that I like, the number that I find interesting, the people who are unsure, it's such a small amount that it doesn't seem if anyone gets all of them, that it's really going to make a huge difference in either way. Okay. And this is just within the last 30 days, right? With day around where yeah. So this is within the last 2 weeks, if you will, 3 weeks. And this one also is super, I'll be honest, I was surprised when I saw this one. I'm running out of time here, but I was surprised when I saw this one that parents, right here, I think this right here, parents of children under the age of 18 have a 65% support. Wow. If you had told me to bet on that, I would have bet the other way. I would have thought these two numbers would have been reversed. Honestly, but not, and we know that non-parents, 68%. Once again, look at how small those gray areas, you can do the math, and there's actually not a huge margin that's available for somebody to take over in that area. And then this part, this is the Republicans, amongst Republicans. 44 are support. Once again, we're talking only 4% for them to win over. So I think these are interesting numbers. They're numbers that tell a story that we are not just talking about, the stoner world or the patient world. We're actually talking about across Arizona and across the sorts of Arizona. And then the last pitch I'm going to do in my final minute, 30 seconds, is we actually are in a place now where we need your story more than ever. So what we have here is this video link. You've seen it before. I pitched it before. None of you except Mike Robinette, and yeah, I'm looking at you, Ryan, have made a video. I'm looking at you. I've called you out, so now you kind of got to make a video.
I got to do it.
Mike Robinette did make a video. That is
Mike Robinette's the only one. Ryan Wilson.
Mike Robinette here.
Ryan Wilson.
You will have it. I will do a wonderful video for you. You see, my problem is always about keeping it as short as you guys are asking for here. I mean, I tend to keep just going on and on and on. So trying to find a clip that's that short, is going to be the challenge.
Well, I believe in you. I believe in you.
We might even do a tandem video for you, Mike and Ryan, for under a minute.
There we go. I like that.
Well, I'm going to encourage you all. We need your stories. Look, all the numbers and polling I shared are great, but those margins that we're talking of unsure are not moved by the data. They're moved by stories of individuals. They're moved by the story of why this is, whether you're a smoker for health reasons, whether you work in the industry, whether you're just someone that has watched people been fucking put in jail wrongfully for years for a product and crop that many people are making money for and you want to see. So I just think this is your opportunity to be part of the campaign. Not, oh, hey, we're going to run big ads. We're going to have these and we're going to try and use many. So I encourage you, this is the best way right now to be part of the campaign, especially in a COVID world where everybody is using Zoom as we are and sharing through video. All right, I am done and going to hand the microphone back. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you so much for the update. That was wonderful. And yes, let's all get out there and let's do our video or story. Let's share that. I mean, it's such a powerful tool. So that's something that as we move forward here, it's going to be extremely beneficial to everyone involved. And besides it, the other great part about it is that that you're not alone. There's so many people out there with a similar story as well. And that's where the magic starts happening, is that when we all start coming forth and, working together and sharing that story, there's power behind that. And with that, I'd like to turn it on over to our next guest speaker here, Dr. Jim Sharkey with Tiburon Consulting Group. Jim, take it away. Dr. Jim.
Thanks, Ryan. Jim is fine. You introduced me as that. So I am a doctor, PhD in Biomedical Sciences. I did my doctoral work and a postdoctoral fellowship in cell signaling in humans, actually. And basically transitioned in a kind of odd way into the cannabis industry. And I've been on both sides, Colorado, cannabis, CBD, and the Arizona medical cannabis sector for over 5 years now. And ironically, our Senate Majority Leader accused the Speaker of the House of saying that cannabis is a cure for COVID. And I was planning on specifically addressing that today. anyone who paid attention to the news back last month, about the middle of last month, saw a bunch of articles on cannabis as a potential treatment for COVID. Now, when you actually look at these studies, you'll see that the experiments were done either in cell culture, in a test tube, or extrapolated from a mouse model for a different syndrome that uses a similar inflammatory storm that COVID does, which causes the real lung damage and probably heart damage, where COVID really it gets its lethality from. And these studies showed that both THC and CBD did have the potential to minimize that inflammation. However, I cannot emphasize enough, these are very early studies. You can get a lot of things to happen in a petri dish or a test tube that will not happen in a human body. Same thing in a mouse. Very interesting to me as a scientist. It makes sense, but it is way too early to make any kind of claims like that. Not only is it just irresponsible from a scientific standpoint, but also regulatory wise. And I believe that Mike informed me that National has taken a strong position that don't even say it. It's not there yet. It does point to the amazing potential benefits of this plant, but in regards to this, you just have to be very careful because sometimes these news articles will just be very overstate findings and just kind of jump the shark. And sorry for the pun. And that's all I had to say.
That's great. Thank you. Much appreciated there. And so for all the viewers out there, just to basically negate, what they're being told on this, right? And just, for the time being, since there's just not enough information to be able to make a decision or a determination one way or the other, and that's just the long and short of it, correct?
Absolutely. Again, promising, but way too early to say anything definitively.
Okay. And guys, for you, everyone watching on Facebook Live, if you do have questions, I'm sure that you've got questions that you'd like to ask. So now would be the time to be posting those. And Allison's shaking her head. Do we have any questions as of right now? Nothing up there as of yet. Yep. Okay. So with that, if there's any other additional questions, we'll give it another 10 seconds here. I want to thank our guests, for coming on and joining us here for this conversation. I mean, this has been, wonderful having both of you guys, you gentlemen on. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And, I hope to see more of both of you guys as we move forward here and do our different series, our educational aspects. And so thank you again very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
And with that, we'll wrap it up for this afternoon, and we'll be seeing you guys again for our educational series in a couple of weeks. And speak to all you soon.